We are bringing sword pieces in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 219 of the Guardian Hub podcast, where we talk Destiny, interview guests, and talk about our love of the game. Sword pieces from the mission and sword pieces. We were using swords, and we were doing a raid right before this. Right, Sen?
Oh, yeah. Going back to that last wish.
Oh, you got quiet again.
Did I?
Don't get quiet on me.
I moved away. I'm setting up the project file. I'm multitasking, sin at its finest.
It is probably just Sin and me tonight. Oh, Kato joined also. Nice. How are you doing, Kato?
Yeah, just kind of snuck in here.
Uh-huh.
Shirtless and on his bike and ready to go.
One of those things is correct, yes.
Yes, one of those things. Unless your bike's in your house near your computer.
No.
I mean, if he has a barn dominium, that could be the case.
Dude, the wife would kill me. 100%.
If you had a barn dominium or
No,
bike
if
in the
I
house?
bike in the house, yeah.
Yeah.
Nah,
But is a
it'll be all right.
barndominium a house? Does that count then?
See, I've got her sold on that aspect of it. Just the bike in the front room would probably not go too well.
True.
But that's why you get a barn dominium, though, is because you can basically live with your cars and your motorcycles. You're just living in a giant garage at that point.
Start
It just
them up
happens
and
to be
the
climate
exhaust
control.
smell is just kind of lingering around. with
No.
Yeah, Sin's idea is lovely, isn't it?
Magical.
Yeah.
Hey, listeners, tell us if you want a barn dominium, but I'm imagining not too many people do. I have heard of that,
Probably
though,
not.
Sin, recently, too. I don't know where or why.
I think because they're cheap enough to put up, and it's like supposed to be like an all-inclusive house because you can have your cars and shit in there, and I don't know.
You can have your
Some people
cars and
think
eat
it's
it, too.
trendy. Yeah.
So I've actually have plans for one drawn up and been looking at building one because it's cheaper than building an actual house. And longevity-wise, it's just better. Metal siding, metal roof, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. How is insulation, heat, and cooling?
You do the same thing like you would in a normal house.
It's not too bad.
No. It's just maintenance. You don't have to worry about the foundation settling because, it's the concrete slab. You can do heated floors. You don't have to worry about creaky floors of any kind. Yeah, it's just all around. It's a good option depending on the climate you live in too.
Sounds not bad. I'm actually freezing my ass off right now. I'm usually hot in this room, my office where I play video games, and it's in the front of my house, south facing, and I finally got an air conditioner. Now I'm too cold, so I got to adjust the temperature, play with this a little bit. But living in luxury now. First world
Problems.
Not sweating my ass. Yes, first world problems, trying to figure out the right temp. Okay, everyone, did you go to Hawthorne? We did a Last Wish raid right before this.
Oh, yeah. Getting those patterns. I've been way behind on that aspect of it playing this game, just with my hectic work schedule, as y'all know. But I got, 2 red borders throughout the raid, 2 transfigurations, and then I ended up getting a Chattering Bone red border from completing that quest from Hawthorne Heights. You're welcome, Kato. And, slowly working on those.
And let's shout out to everyone we played with. Of course, me, Kingsley, and Sin were there. Or sorry, Kato
Wow.
and Sin. Me, Kingsley, Kato, and Sin, minus the me. And then who else did we have? Commando. I don't know how many raids I've done with him before.
Not many.
So shout out there. And Dystopian Freak. Welcome. And Darth Noodle.
Yep, Darth Noodle.
Oh, yeah. It was magical. And one of them hadn't run it before. So it was a teaching raid also, just under 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, and look at this. Sin has the least deaths. 11 deaths.
Plus, we did eggs too.
We did do eggs. That's what added a little bit of time.
Yeah. Shit.
I don't always Sherpa and have the least deaths, but when I do, it's Last Wish.
Well, just by one. Kato and I have 12, so.
And it wasn't from me pushing you off. You know how I like to shoulder charge.
Bullshit. You.
For Kato, it might have been.
You didn't die. I pushed you around.
No, I did die. You shoulder charged me off in the jumping section.
No, that wasn't me.
Oh, well, fine. Somebody did.
I was already through the portal. I actually backed off before I hit you because I thought I was going to knock you off. I decided not to. I decided to be nice for once.
This is a therapy session. But hey, if you too want to join our raids and have fun getting pushed around by Sin, join up with us sometime. This was just the last minute one we did in the bot. Kind of filled up quickly, but yeah, we loved everyone that joined. Now, we need to make this a shorter show tonight. However, we do have some fun stuff to talk about. A new exotic mission-ish that got tacked on to Deep Dive. Came out on the 4th of July.
Yes.
Yes. And these deep dives are a cluster right now, let me tell you, because there are 3 competing things if you're going for matchmaking. I guess at this point, no one should. Well, I did pretty good with matchmaking. But there is running the mission for the tier 7. That's one reason to run the deep dives. There is running it for the exotic quest, which you only go halfway-ish through. And then there's running it for the catalyst afterwards. It's just a random drop, just getting completion. So for people doing that, you want to just run it quickly without doing tier 7 or anything, just to farm it. No one said if they give you increased chance. I don't know for the catalyst, so I assume people are just speedrunning. But that's a cluster. But of course you can go in match made. But we have the 3rd Broken Blade this week. I know on Tuesday a lot of us were kind of jumping in during the day. I think Rodimus, me, and Kato, right? We were there together, and Kato, you were taking a while to get your 3rd fish.
2 hours, man. 2 hours.
That's a little much. It didn't take me that long.
It didn't take anyone that long.
Rodimus got 4 of the exotic fish in that same 2 hours.
Yeah, and I don't know if I got a couple or not, but I got mine pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was probably I picked up the quest. Mine's still broken. I have to go to the archive and get it, then go to Hawthorne. But I picked it up and I finished it under like the first tier of that quest. So basically 100 points worth of fish.
Yeah. Yep, so we have our 3rd fish and our 3rd exotic fish that of course you turn in to the helm for the broken blade pieces, meaning that you can now go in the deep dive and start the exotic quest. So you have the 3 statues to deposit it in. Only one person has to do that, of course. And then a door will open off to the side to the right when you finish the 2nd arena, and everyone can choose to run over there. Which, if you're in a team, I'm assuming people will do. If you're with blueberries, that may or may not happen. It did with me, luckily. I even, earlier today, I messaged them, exotic quest, ? And then they all ran over.
That's just lucky.
It is lucky.
It is.
And I got it done, too. With blueberries, yeah. I know, lucky. I wasn't expecting anything, but hey, that can happen. Some of the blueberries on PC are tryhards, that's for sure. Especially during the day. All right. What is the name of this? Mr. Monkey posted an infographic. You may want to look at that ahead of time. It kind of shows the spawn points of certain important ads that you need to take down and it can also be helpful after the fact to get collectibles also. But what I wanted to do is, isn't there a name of this? Even whetstone.
Yeah,
Weird.
I think it's wet. Well, I mean, yeah.
It's not weird because a whetstone in that spelling, doesn't that sharpen blades?
Yes.
Well, how's it spelled?
WHET. Yeah. No, you're right, Sin, on that. But what I thought was weird is, where does it even say the name? I'm not really noticing it when I'm in
I
it.
think it's in the countdown timer as you're going through it.
Okay.
Yeah. Which it's kind of, when we get to that part is the most, because you're on a timer, you're not really paying attention to it, right? So I know we're going to get into it a little bit more, but
Yeah.
you're not looking at the name of the mission. You're worried about beating the clock.
Yes. So we get a timer. We're like, oh boy, okay, this is another mission that's similar-ish to ones like, just timer-wise, like Whisper of the Worm or Outbreak. But it's tacked at the end of a deep dive. The actual mission timer part isn't very long. You kind of go through some, liquid areas for a bit and some rooms and tunnels. But then the timer starts. It's not very long of what you have to do. And it's
10
not
minutes?
too complicated. Yeah, 10-minute timer.
For the whole thing?
For the whole thing.
Correct.
You just kind of learn to shoot some... spoiler alert. There's a pyramid ship. That's where the mission is. Or something of that effect.
It's pyramid ship.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
We enter that and learn to shoot the little nodules like from the
Crux
Bow
of
raid?
Darkness.
Yeah. I mean, they've been around other spots too. They will open doors, open areas for ads to come out. The key here is look for taken minotaurs, because when you drop them, they give us a blade buff. And they allow you to do damage on a named enemy. So first we have, a taken knight? Like a mini
Yep.
boss.
Yep.
Can't damage him until you take down you're kind of learning the mechanic. You're damaging the minotaurs, right? And then just kind of getting a buff, and then you can damage him. And so you kind of learn that part. And then you get to this big maze room. I'm looking at this picture again. It looks like, I don't know what these things are, but I've seen this before, but it's kind of like all intertwined together and stairs that go up and down. But generally, there are corners that you can go to with 3 taken minotaurs that appear at a time. So if you're lucky, just turn left right away. One of the first ones will likely spawn there, not guaranteed. And then go to the other corners and find them and kill them quickly because you're timed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we all panic run to the middle. Panic, kill the boss, kill the boss. Gosh, how much health do you think he has?
So from what I've seen in various places, is he has almost as much health as Nezarek,
Okay.
which is like 8-9 mil, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Sin posted the picture in the podcast live chat also. Thanks for that, Sin. And we also have it in our
General
infographics channel.
infographics. Yep.
Yeah, lots of damage. And if you go fast, you can get 4 phases of damage on him. And a lot of groups need that, right? I don't know. When you got it done last night, did you do it in 3 or 4?
I think we
if
ended
you
up
remember.
doing 4.
Yeah, because we had no ammo.
Correct.
That's the other thing, of course.
We got half first damage, and then it was like no ammo. So
no ammo. Hey, but at least eventually, I don't know where the gate is, but when you do enough damage, those taken minotaurs start spawning in the middle really close by. So I don't know if it's like a forgiveness mechanic or whatever.
I don't know if it's damage or if it's timer.
Some people have strong opinions that they said it's damage, not me. But I think it might be damage also, but either way, once you kind of get to the third-ish phase or something like that, you'll get it close by. But just chip away at it, people. Eventually you can get it with a group or with randos if you're lucky like me. I mean, there's going to be complaints about this. There's, of course, the RNG aspect of you got to catch the fish first to even do this, and then how it's tacked on to. It's not just a pure mission just by itself, something you can pick on a node. You have to do a deep dive, and then you do it at the end. And then there's a timer. So those three things together, I'm sure there will be opinions on what people like or don't like. I'm okay with the shortness of it just because we've been getting pretty much every season an exotic mission for a while now here. And they can't all be bangers. They can't all be super long or interesting. I'd rather, have a short one every once in a while, something like this, if they're giving us pretty much every season.
Yeah,
But I understand the complaint.
I was initially, after playing it for the first couple nights, and I had some complaints about it, right? It is kind of a little frustrating that you go into a match made activity and have to hit all these, and then it goes into a timed mission. The fact that you can't choose it or go in to do just this, you're basically wasting, I think, when we were start to finish on the timers, when we were wiping, you're in there for 22, 23 minutes in the entire deep dive because you have that 10 to 12 minutes of doing the first two rooms of a deep dive before you actually get to it. But I understand. I kind of do like the way they tied it in, but I think it could have been done a little bit better.
Yeah, it's mostly the deep dive part that's annoying, right? Because when you have a pure exotic mission, even if you fail, you start over with something that's still kind of new. But when you fail in this, you have to do a deep dive again, which boring, right? Again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you think, Kato? Anything could be done better, or what are your overall thoughts?
I think if they're going to make you do the deep dive part of it first, you should at least be able to keep the buffs you get.
Yeah.
And I think the buffs would offset the timer compared to how large his health pool is.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my biggest complaint is the timer compared to the health pool is very it's very unforgiving.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily against it, but I feel like they could have done a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And not even to mention you have to
The main thing that annoys me is, okay, yes, it's a tormentor, so they can suppress you. He can suppress you, but the bigger issue is the taking blight boopy things on the wall that kind of freezes you. And I would rather there just be more ads or whatever. But those, you can avoid him, of course, but sometimes he's close to a wall or whatever. It can be hard to avoid him every single time. That gets freaking annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this. I know Kato was there. You might have been there for a little bit, Kingsley, before hopping off the other night. And we talked about it. The raid-like mechanics and the raid-like health damage with a three-person activity. It is, like you said, very unforgiving. But you have to be well-equipped and your loadout's got to be on point to get it done in that timer.
Sin's dabbing right now.
I'm not even in game. Not even emoting. It's a shocker when I'm podcasting and not gaming.
Oh,
right?
And what's also weird is this is part of forgetting the title, right?
Oh, it is?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, I have the title now. I got the thing. It was the bottom right thing. And I had to do some more kills with the stupid taken weapons, so I finished that up this afternoon. But that's kind of weird, too. Usually, I know Bungie goes back and forth. Seasonal titles, they were a little bit harder than they said they wanted them to be the easier titles to get. But now with this exotic mission being part of the title, with it being a timed mission and everything, I would say this would be a harder one to get again, unless, of course, someone can get carried by a group or something like that. But potentially harder.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been able to find any numbers yet on for sure how large his health pool is. But the Hive Wizard in Ghost of the Deep has I want to say 10 mil health pool. And just think how long that normally takes. Like, granted, the mechanic there is longer, but it's it's a very tight timer.
Definitely.
Even for some experienced groups, it is a very tight timer.
It's very tight. When I got it earlier today, I did not think I was going to. We were doing pretty good, and then we're on 4th phase, and then didn't seem like much of us had any good ammo, but we were getting his damage down, and I had a well like every other time or something like that, and then they both died. I'm like, okay, I'm going to place the well now. Luckily, I was able to revive a guy, and then he got in the well, and then I ran over and revived the other guy, and we got it done with 3 seconds left.
That is close. I think, Kato, when we finished with Rodimus, we had 20 seconds left.
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Yeah, it was close also.
Yeah. So
I'm not much
timers.
of a proponent for must-have weapons, but I know we were talking in the Discord earlier. A well in Divinity, it's not a necessity, but it makes it so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
then, of course, you're only going to have the well every other time anyways, but it's still worth having. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said the other night, almost having 2 wells would be more beneficial.
Yeah, if you want to make your life easier. Yeah, because then I know. It was weird, too, when I did it with the blueberries. There was 2 warlocks, and I thought he was on solar, but then I noticed he was doing arc. I'm surprised we just didn't do 2 wells, but still got it done, but just barely. I would have been stressing out a little bit less if he had a well. So.
Right.
Oh, also be sure to place your well plenty ahead of time, because if he's running at you and starts throwing the purple shit at you, he'll suppress you out of placing your wells. So,
yep.
I mean, any super, of course, but yeah, especially the well person. You almost want to just see which direction he's running and don't place it super near him, because he'll run towards you anyways, and then get that well down before he suppresses you.
Yeah. I mean, overall, it's definitely a good mission. It could be a few tweaks for it, but
yeah.
Yeah, and then we have 7 collectible things to shoot at the end.
Yeah. Personally, I think not necessarily the biggest change, but the change I would like to see the most is give us a separate node to where, if you launch into that node, that's all you're doing. It could, it's still going to have to be part of the deep dive, but give us a separate selection for the deep dive for that.
Yeah, that's how they can solve these problems, because people will be on the same page.
Right. Now we have, you can select deep dive, and you have the supposed match made, and then you can do private. Well, then just give us a third option here. Just, that's all it would take.
Well, didn't they do that with Vex Caliber? You had to unlock it in the EDZ, but once you completed it, there was a selectable node on the map.
Yes, there's a node on the map for it.
Yeah.
They could almost do the same thing with this. Once you complete it, open up the node. Maybe I understand doing, tying it to the deep dive on your first clear, but if you wanted to go back and rerun it, or somebody who's already completed, that could solve some issues there.
Well, even if you had to do the first section of the deep dive to make that mission longer, I'm fine with that. Just don't make it with random ass blueberries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's 3 things competing now. You have the tier 7s, you have the catalyst runs, or people trying to get the catalyst, and then you have people that are still trying to do it.
Yep.
So I know we were talking a little bit about the other night after completing it. How do you get the catalyst?
It's just a drop from.
It's just completing it. So now people are going to want to just speed run it. No tier 7 or anything. Complete the whole deep dive. Not the mission, but the deep dive has a chance to drop the catalyst at the very end.
Yeah.
So CSEN, like people are like going in for all these different reasons now into deep dive that are all competing with each other.
Might be a little much.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to run more deep dives. Do we know if the Callus is any good? I mean, the weapon's really not even that
I think
exciting.
it overflows the mag is what it does. I don't know.
It is
Like
called
it
Wicked
look.
Implement, and creeping attrition, rapidly landing precision hits causes targets to become slowed. Ooh.
So I think it stacks up because you can slow, then freeze, then shatter,
Mhm.
which is great. But everything I've seen it's really not that good outside of like GMs. I haven't even really messed with it much, but just from reading what it does, how it functions, it's like perfect for GMs because you can handle all three champions with that because of the slowing, the freezing, and then the shatter. It'll stun all three. But I feel like the Catalyst should have done more than just overflow the magazine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give it headstone. That'd have been great.
Well, something. Now that we have this out of the way too, there really may not be much else new this season other than Solstice coming up, which is never really new. It's just stuff. I think we got that in a week or two.
They haven't announced whether or not they're going to do anything new for Solstice, have they? Or if it's going to be the same thing as last year, where
so.
you can craft high stat armor, or not high stat, but
Yeah,
focused stat armor.
which is always a plus. Probably just that aerial EDZ zone again. And then we'll see what else comes from that. Yeah, and they didn't talk about yet in the TWID. We have a couple news items that came out today. We won't go over the details, but if there's anything you all want to focus on that really tickled your fancy, they give a preview on the mid-season weapon tuning coming up, and then there's a short TWID also. And I'm trying to remember.
Perused, but nothing specific.
Well,
stood out
Graviton
to me.
Lance increased PvE damage by 67%.
Graviton does really well in momentum control.
So
PvE damage.
I know.
Yeah, it's getting a tune to compete more with Revision 0 and PvE content. There's some other things that we're getting a tune.
No time to explain. Reduced range by a little bit.
Yeah. They were worried that, I did read it earlier. They were more concerned that my Graviton getting a tune, because it's so popular right now, that no time would jump right back to the top. So they're hitting that before it even becomes a problem.
Pulse rifles in general. We can go over the big stats. Pulse rifles in general reduce aim, auto aim angle at 0, aim assist stat by about 10%. So a little bit less on that.
Lightweight bows are getting a buff. Lightweight shotguns are getting a buff.
Yeah.
Fighting Lion is getting fixed.
Fixed, yep.
Target lock is getting a nerf in PvP. Gut shot and slick draw are getting a buff. And that's kind of it. And they kind of go over how they balance weapons in PvP.
Yeah. And then a big chart table on ADS damage fall off start distances that you can look at if you want to geek out with that.
Fish pins. Yay.
I did see those.
I'm slightly tempted by that.
Really?
Right?
You don't buy anything, Kingsley.
I know, I don't. Well, the only thing I bought from Bungie is the plush ghost.
What?
You know, like And then the I bought a coffee or a tumbler, like a
Mm-hmm.
Destiny imprinted thing. Those are the only two things I've ever bought.
Anybody else kind of disappointed that Witherhoard is getting another ornament?
Well, I don't know. I don't care, but sure, it's yeah, right. Witherhoard, of course. Do something new.
Yeah. Like there's other ornament or other exotics that I feel could get another ornament.
So stop letting us vote, Bungie, or at least put like 3. Was this a voting one? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, or put 3 unpopular ones together or something like that. Don't put like one that people use a lot, so of course they'll pick that.
Yeah.
Like, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Witherhoard already has 4 ornaments. Like,
You saying it's just a cash grab at this point?
I kind of feel like it, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of ornaments, I did pick up the trident one for Winterbite. I thought that was kind of cool.
I heard about
It was-
that. You
It
were
was
very impressed.
unique. Very unique. I did like it.
I don't lie, I like it, but not enough to buy it.
Well, I don't spend my, that's my, what is it called?
Silver.
Yeah, silver. I don't spend that on really anything else. So why not?
Yeah.
And I did buy it for the new weapon that we just got because it had one for it.
Well, in other news, I know a lot of people, and we can still talk Destiny, but I know a lot of people have been playing Diablo also. And today we got news on the season, July 20th, I believe, and details on what it's about and what we'll be doing,
Oh, I did not read that.
I didn't
along
either.
with some other tuning stuff. Yeah, they had a live stream today, basically a mini State of the Union of what's coming up in Diablo and talking about the season. And there's some links that have been posted, and
Gotcha.
I think someone posted it in our Discord under the Diablo channel. Also, if people are really into Diablo, you should be following the official Diablo Discord. There's a lot of good info there. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun this week in Destiny doing this new mission, and we're always raiding. But yeah, I'm sure you'll see us back and forth while we're talking about Destiny, playing Diablo also.
Most likely.
Most likely. Hey,
Unless you're
Scoop.
me.
Thanks for joining the chat. We started a little bit later this evening, but we had a few things to talk about, and Sin works too much, right? That's what you mean, Sin? No time for what you want to do?
Pretty much. And that in the project still. More flooring today, even
Oof.
on my day off.
Anyone eat anything good for 4th of July festivities?
I mean, good. I mean, we grilled out at work. That was good. Hamburgers and hot dogs. Grilling out's always tasty.
Like that's like just the typical thing. Like everybody does hamburgers and hot dogs. Like
Yeah. I know. Did you do that, Kato, or anything else interesting?
no, I mean just hamburgers, hot dogs. I had to work the next morning, so I was actually not in bed as soon as I wanted to be, but I think I was still in bed by like 10 o'clock.
Respectable.
It doesn't get dark here till like 9:30. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I had hot dog. I didn't do any grilling other than just grilling the hot dogs on a pan on the stove. But this is like the one time a year where I actually will eat hot dogs, and I like the Nathan's hot dogs. So I went to the store, got a pack, made Chicago style, kind of cut the hot dog down this middle, grilled it on both sides, put it back together, put a pickle in the middle, a pickle slice, then kind of wedged, and then didn't have any onions, but did the relish and the celery salt and all the mustard and ketchup, and it was delish.
Did I just hear you deconstructed a hot dog?
Sauerkraut?
I constructed.
Or no
I didn't
sauerkraut?
have the sauerkraut either. Yeah,
okay, so at least you like sauerkraut. That's the
I do.
plus.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they'll even have peppers too. Chicago style has tons of crap, but
Oh
the
yeah.
main thing is if you have the pickle in there, I think like that and some celery salt kind of gives it the main flavor. Sometimes the sauerkraut actually is a little too much on the hot dog because I feel like that's overpowering it, but
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that flavor. It's just,
Or just in general.
yeah, it's like sauerkraut's like taking over all the other flavors.
It's either you like it or you don't. There is no like, I kind of like it. It's either you like sauerkraut or you just fucking hate it.
You know, you can put sauerkraut for me right there with white sauces, the nasty white sauces.
You uncultured swine.
No. It's just
Yes,
it's
yes,
nasty.
I do have to say the one. It's been a couple years since we've done it, but we used to hold 4th of July parties at my house all the time because I live at the very edge of town in the middle of nowhere. So there's no ambient lighting to disturb. So it's just better visuals for the fireworks at night. And instead of doing burgers or grilling or anything, we did street tacos.
Oh, nice.
We did pork, chicken, and I think ended up doing ground beef for the kids that showed up. Like that was just I get so tired of grilled food in the summer. Like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, and I get sick of all the fall Christmas stuff, like the hams and the turkeys and the
Ugh,
potatoes. I'm
yeah.
like, dude, that's when I get like Chinese food instead because I get sick of the
mhm.
traditional things.
Yeah.
Definitely understandable because sometimes it can be overdone.
I know, but then you have family members that will never do anything else besides that, so it's like that's why it gets overdone. And you go several places, and everyone's doing the same thing, and
Same thing, same
Uh-huh.
foods. I'm just. So my wife's family, instead of doing like traditional Christmas ham and whatnot, they actually do a soup Christmas. So it's instead of a traditional Christmas dinner, it's like 2, 3, 4 different kinds of soups or chilies or whatever, which is a really nice difference compared to everywhere else.
I'm actually getting
Sounds
kind of
like it.
hungry now.
yes, I am too,
Especially
and I
the
haven't
chili
eaten dinner
part.
yet, so we've been playing since about 5 my time, and it's 8:45 my time right now.
So
But,
what, 3-4 hours?
Yeah, so I'm going to be hopping off here and getting some food. But anything else you two want to talk about real quick before we end up? Like I said, it'll be a shorter show tonight. Scoot says, there's a place for traditional foods, but every holiday is too much.
Agreed.
Agreed.
And D4, we definitely need to play some D4 together, Scoot.
We will do that. You'll be seeing us on here soon enough.
Actually, probably what I'm gonna go do.
Nice.
What are you off tomorrow?
Yeah.
And forgets. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
pretty normal.
Yeah, I forget it's Thursday, so Friday you're off.
It's hit and miss, man. It's hit and miss.
Sounds like my memory. Hit and miss.
Well, thank you, Kato. And Sin, you're just getting old. I don't know. I have better memory than you, and I'm older.
Yes,
No.
you are.
All right. Well, at least I'm not as old as Gator.
Fair. At
Love
least
you,
don't
Mr.
call
Monkey
it.
Gator.
Yeah, at least you're not calling it Diablo.
Yes. Ugh. Oof. For some reason that rubs me the wrong way.
Uh-huh.
Well, everyone, thanks for listening to our short show this evening. We're going to go off and play some Diablo and get that right, people, and or eat food. Kato, you're in the Discord. People love you.
Mhm.
People know you. What are you right now?
Catoclasm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know how that happened.
You can thank the person listening.
Yeah.
The different encounters of the raid. Sin
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. Sin is scissoring. I mean, scission. And I'm macrocosm.
Okay. Fair.
Yep. And what was Dez? I forget.
Deseret.
Deserac, which, by the way, I believe he said he is sleeping this evening. So shout out to Sleepy Dez.
Sleepy does.
All right. Sin, where can people find you?
They can find me currently running around the EDZ. I did pop back in so I could do some weapon kills for this darn title. And Twitter, Sin_media, and of course in the Discord. Kingsley, just take us out.
Yes, you can find me as Kingsley Mac all the places, and you can find our show at our lovely website, should I go slower? theguardianhub.com.
Oh, best. Hub on the net.
Thank you, Sin. Thank you, Kato. Really appreciate you both for joining tonight for our short but lovely episode.
Short and sweet, like a Rice Krispie treat.
And we will catch you all again next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Later.